Hello, House Shrink here with another session on Tools for Life. Today I'm going to be asking you a question. In your journey, during adversity, what do you choose? Disappointment or discovery? I'll just give you a very simple example today. You have to live what you're trying to teach, otherwise you're a fake. Today, it's not a big deal, but just to give you an example. Today I knew that my favorite place for a brunch was closed. They're closed for vacation. So I chose another place that I thought was really very nice, and they serve brunch. So I rode there, just about a 30-minute drive, and I got there, and the place did not serve brunch that day. They just chose not to serve brunch. Okay, so two disappointments. So what do? First, you embody what you're feeling, the disappointment. You just don't Pollyanna, oh, life is wonderful. You don't do that. But then when you do is you ask yourself, do I want to be disappointed, or do I want to use this as an opportunity to discover what I call precursors of discovery? So I thought, okay, I'm going to look around and see if I find something new as plan B. So I looked around. I went to one place, didn't like it. It was crowded. It was one of those places that just put you through like cattle. Didn't like it. Went somewhere else, didn't like it. Kept looking. But while I was looking, I was also into a discovery mode. And the discovery mode is, let me see what's new, what's subtle here, what is the new novelty here. And I looked around and finally found a place perfect. Ate outside, had a wonderful brunch, a glass of wine, great. And what that does is, let's see, someone says, love your paintings, my man. How's your day been so far? It's been great. Those are my paintings. That's this one here is called Samson and Delilah, or the Betrayal, and it's an oil on paper. The one in the back is the Cherokee Aviator, and back there is the Maidens of Lavender Hill. So I do surrealistic paintings also, as well as being shrink. So thank you for noticing the work. The subject for today, if you just joined us, is disappointment or discovery on your journey. When you choose to go to discovery, something happens that's called synchronicity. Not all the time, but it happens many of the other times, which you go into what's called in psychology a selective mode of perception, which means that you're open to new information. And if you're open to new information, instead of being angry and upset and this isn't working, oh, ruin my day, you go into blind spots. You don't see anything. So when you go into discovery, you begin to see newness around you, and the synchronicity comes in. Something that maybe you thought about 2 months ago, it happened today. You have to be open to that synchronicity. And that's the mystical path that I talk about sometimes. Because in science, you can measure things. On the mystical path, you live the immeasurables. But it's just as powerful as science. And even Einstein was a mystic, and he was a great scientist. But he discovered the laws of relativity in a dream while he was driving or riding a rainbow. How do you like that for science? So you have to be open. And you have to be open to the opportunities that are available to you. And if you get too attached to something, and the Buddhists talk about this, the attachment is the greatest suffering. If you get too attached to something, when it doesn't happen, you almost mourn what's going on. Oh, I couldn't go to my restaurant. I couldn't get this. I couldn't get that. You detach and look at it as an opportunity for discovering something new. And that's when your brain goes into discovery. Then there's some dumb questions as usual, and I'm just going to ignore them, and they'll go away. So I'm going to be talking to people that have a mind, not clowns. So we keep going. And the idea of discovering, not just on restaurants or anything in life. In life, things will happen. It's called the vicissitudes of life, the difficulties in life. And when you have those things happening in your life, then you have a choice to jump in and spin into nothingness, or come out and have an opportunity to grow. You have an opportunity to learn something new. And the brain was made for discovery. This is why sometimes when people retire and they just go to Florida to watch the sunset, within a year or two they're sick, and 4 years they die, because the brain was made to discover. And I've worked with centenarians. I study centenarians, as some of you that follow my work know. And these are people who are over 100, who live independently and who are healthy. I look for healthy centenarians, not people in nursing homes, because life without quality is really not worth it. And what these people do, these centenarians, is they're very, very curious about everything. They're like this person who asked about the painting. What is that painting behind? They have something curious about them, and that keeps their brain healthy, and actually is an anti-aging effect, is one of the causes of health. So discovery mode is what we do best. So if you have a race car and you never go fast with it, then you can't use the totality of the potential that it has. And I'm not saying you should go race a car or anything, I'm just using an analogy. So remember that. So the brain was made to constantly discover. In fact, when you go into discovery mode, you secrete a neurotransmitter called dopamine, which opens up your perception. And dopamine has a valuable effect. Dopamine is the receptors where drugs go when you're doing drugs, or when you're doing alcohol, or when you're doing the hallucinogens, because that's what actually gives you the pleasure. But you don't have to do drugs to find pleasure. You can find pleasure within you because you have a pharmacy inside. You want to find pleasure, just like if you're doing a drug, get very curious about something. You get involved in it, and the time just passes. That's dopamine receptors, and a part of the brain that controls the pleasure receptors. And that is really powerful. But also life becomes more meaningful because it's not like a one disappointment after another. So if you just joined us, the topic for today is the choice of disappointment or discovery in your life when things are not going well for you. And I know that a lot of you have difficult times like anybody else, get depressed, you get disappointed with things that happen in life, but then, and I don't mean repress it, I don't mean just think that, oh, it's okay, everything's fine. No, it's not fine. You have to embody the pain, you have to embody the disappointment. Then, deep breath, what can I discover here? What can I learn here? And that's what outliers are all about. Those are the people that advance civilization, and those are the people that discover and move us into a better place. So, for example, at the end of the last age, 10,000 years ago, many of the people that were living far from the ice that was beginning to melt thought that there were ice monsters out there, and they wouldn't go there because they're ice monsters. Until the outliers thought, okay, we're going to explore and see what the ice monsters are. They went there, they found out it was only ice, they learned to adjust to the ice, civilization started. So outliers are the ones who move us into the next level of understanding and the next level of discovery. So you want to try synchronicity? I'm going to give you a little formula for synchronicity. It's called a feed-forward event. I had to invent the word to use it the way that I do. A feed-forward event is something that you're celebrating today, but you don't know what you're celebrating until it happens. So today you say, I'm going to have a celebration dinner, and I don't know why. And I'm going to wait in the future to see what it is. You'll find within a day or two, oh, so this is what I was celebrating. That is one way to bring synchronicity into your life. It's one way to anticipate things and celebrate them before they come. So those are some of the ways of synchronicity. If you just joined, House Shrink, don't forget to follow my channel, because then it'll let you know when I'm doing these sessions and these topics that I think are good they're good tools for life. And today I'm talking about a situation that my usual place for brunch on Sundays, and it's good to have rituals, by the way. Rituals are very healthy. Rituals are really one of the causes of health. So the place that I love so much was closed. That's where I write most of my books. It's called Margot's. It's an award-winning cafe in Nashville, and it's a wonderful place. So it was closed because they were on vacation. So I thought, okay, I'm going to try something else. I was going to go to another place, a little bistro type of place, and they had brunch. I called the day before, I had brunch. I got there. They decided to not serve brunch. So disappointment. So you can either be disappointed, or you can say, okay, let me explore. So what I did is I said, okay, I'm going to go into discovery mode, and I'm going to look around. And I went to a couple of places, and I didn't like one place, I didn't like the other, till finally I kept looking around with my eyes open, with the discovery mode, found a really good place, and I had a great brunch there. Nice glass of wine. I had my book there so I can do some notes about my next book. So it made a difference. What it does is it enriches your life, and you don't tie what I call cognitive strings. In psychology, cognitive strings is that you tie things that don't need to be tied. So for example, you get up in the morning, your car doesn't start. You go to work and you're late, and you start tying things that have no relationship at all, and then terrible day. Because then you look for terrible things, or you don't pay attention to what's going on, so terrible things start happening. So what you want to do is you want to be able to say, okay, this is unrelated. There's no relationship here. Let me see what I can do to change the process that's going on in my life. So that's the idea. So if you just joined us, welcome. House Shrink here. Make sure that you follow my work so you can get more information about many of the things that I talk about in psychology. I'm a clinical psychologist, and I just share information here to help you better navigate your life, and to also allow you to celebrate life with tools that I'm offering here. So hello to everybody that's coming here, and I'm very, very glad that you're here. So the idea is that you have a choice in life. You either go into disappointment or you go into discovery. If you go into discovery, your brain begins to secrete the neurotransmitters that actually, the dopamine, for example, which is a neurotransmitter that allows you to feel pleasure. And pleasure, you don't need a drug to have pleasure. You can do meditations, you can do discovery mode, and a lot of things that trigger what substances, psychotropic substances will trigger, which is the dopamine receptors in the brain. All right, so that's what's going on. If you have any questions, feel free. If they're legitimate questions, if they're dumb questions, then I'm going to ignore them as usual, because we always have a clown here who tries to take attention and all that. But you just kind of ignore them and they go away. So anyway, if you have difficulties, if you have things that happen in your life that cause you to feel disappointed, stop. Allow the disappointment to be embodied. Allow it to go through your body. And then after that, say, okay, now what do I do? What do I do? I go into discovery mode, and I look at the opportunities for plan B, plan C, plan D. And I learned this from my mentor. One of my mentors was a psychologist who I did some practicums with, and it's just a wonderful mentor. He was in a wheelchair. He had muscular dystrophy, which paralyzes most of your body, or gives you very little strength, but your brain is intact. So sometimes we go out to dinner and we couldn't go in one door because of the wheelchair, and immediately he would say, plan B. At first I said, what is plan B? Plan B is, this isn't working, this is plan A, let's go to plan B. Plan C, plan D. Incredibly resilient and empowered man from a wheelchair. So this is what happens when you see people that are resilient and that are willing to look at alternatives from a wheelchair. So imagine what you can do being able to walk. What can you do if you're trying to help someone who refuses to help? The people that don't want help, you can't help them. It's a choice that they have, free will. People that don't want help, you let them go. All you do is you act as an example, as a model of what it could be, and then let them go. Let them, because what's going to happen is that some people that don't want help, they're waiting for you to tell them how to do something so they can tell you how it's not going to work. I see it in therapy all the time. People that come to therapy to prove that it doesn't work. And what I do with those people is, okay, look, you don't need to be here if you know everything. Why are you here? What's going on? If you want me to help you, I can. If you are going to find any objections and everything that I do, then you don't need to be here, and let's just end it. That's it. So that's the way to deal with it. You cannot help who does not want help. That's how it is. It's that simple. Let it go. Don't allow yourself to get frustrated about it, because those are people who are choosing not to come out of their misery. And some people do. Some people just want to be in their misery. Allow them to be victims, and you go on and you move on with your life and do the best you can. Bless them, move on. So that's what I would suggest. People that just joined, there's a lot of people that just joined. I just want to tell you that I'm very glad that I'm here with you. And what I'm sharing is, when an obstacle comes in your life, that you have a choice to either go into disappointment or go into discovery mode. And I'm suggesting that you look into discovery when something is not working is an option that's open to you. So remember my mentor in the wheelchair, he always say plan B, plan C, plan D. And I said, how many plans do you have? As many as there are letters in the alphabet. And then when it's over, you start over again. Very resilient man, very honorable and courageous, being in a wheelchair with muscular dystrophy, which is a terrible illness. So even people with difficult situations in their lives, when they go into discovery mode, when they go into resilience and they look at alternatives, rather than go into victimhood, they change their lives and they make them meaningful in their lives. This man was helping many people, including me. He helped me as a student, even though he was in a wheelchair in a miserable situation. But he was excited about life, courageous, and I learned much from this man, much from this man. So I hope that you can learn something from me here and that you can practice it and also spread the word. Let people know the alternatives and the tools that are available for people, that it's not all misery in life. But it's interesting that misery, known misery, is less stressful than unknown joy, because the unknown always causes a bit of anxiety. So be willing to go into, like in the Ice Age, how they went in to fight the ice monsters that I was talking about, and civilization started. What if you consider something is your duty and you can't move on? Well, as a self-imposed duty to help someone that doesn't want help, what duty is that? If they don't want help, what is your duty? You're not God. You're not a magical person that can change things. The duty has to do with the people that want something. Like love, you give love to people who want love. You just don't give love to people that are going to not take it. So duty is something that's a self-imposed thing. I like the tropical shirt. Thank you. Yeah, I just got this. I've had this for a while, and it's wore today because I'm in Nashville and it's very hot here, so I just wore this to go to the brunch. When should you distance yourself from miserable friends? When they have very little to offer. When all they do is put you down or find something wrong with life. Anybody can have a bad day. You can have a bad day. But if it's a pattern of bad days, if you go out to dinner with them, or if you go shopping, or you go whatever, and all they can do is just tell you how bad life is, ask yourself, why do I want to continue to be with this person? Why would I want to continue to spend time with this person if all they do is just put you down? Someone, Parker Rose, just sent me a rose. Thank you. What should you offer in a friendship? The best of you, without getting abused. In a friendship, you have limits. You give with limits. You never allow other people to manipulate your limits. You say no, and you give people permission to not like it. Never do something because you think you have to for other people, especially if something uncomfortable. Never do it, even if you lose a friendship, because when they want to push your limits and they want to go beyond what you're willing to do, that's not a friendship. That's a manipulation. So be aware of that. If you just joined, we started with a theme. As we follow my work, we start with a theme and then we just go all over the place based on the questions that you have. So the initial topic was disappointment or discovery when things are not working well. And I choose discovery because disappointment, all that it does is it puts you into a helpless mood. And if you live a helpless life, it's not healthy. Helplessness causes inflammation. In psychoneuroimmunology, the research is showing that a helpless way of life causes inflammation, it decreases your immune defense, and it's not good for you. You have to find resilience. We were made to find resilience. Otherwise, we wouldn't be around as a species for 150,000 years as a modern Homo sapiens, because of the resilience and the opportunities and the abilities that we had to overcome adversity. Okay, any other questions? I'm going to be leaving pretty soon, but I wanted to give you this option of considering that when disappointment comes in, discovery is on the other side. It's like a seesaw. Disappointment is here, discovery is there, and vice versa. So you be aware. How do you deal with guilt and disappointment in a way that you can move forward in the right way? Okay, what you do is you're feeling guilty about something. Ask yourself, what is it that you did wrong? If you did something wrong, the option is to continue to spin in disappointment or improve your life. Improve your life in that area. Did something wrong? Guilt is good only for one thing, to teach you that something needs to change, to teach you that you have to learn something. Guilt is not to spin. Guilt causes many stress hormones that are not good for you. It has an initial function, but if you spin, then it's no longer good. It begins to hurt you then. You did something wrong? Take a deep breath. How do I correct it? How do I do something right now? How do I learn from this? And then do it. And then fix it. So see guilt as an invitation to grow, not as something to punish you. Do that, meditate on that, and you'll see how things start changing for you. You have to practice it. What are ways to reduce anxiety? First, to find out what's causing the anxiety. What's causing the anxiety out there? And under what conditions does it happen? Because I could tell you do relaxation and do meditation. That's good, that helps, but that's a Band-Aid. If you have a stressor out there that you're not dealing with, you can meditate and within 10 minutes you're going to be stressed again. Also find out, how did you learn to be anxious? Who did you watch in your family that overreacted to things or that was anxious all the time? And that's how you learned it. And you can unlearn it by the way, many of these things are in my books. I don't try to promote them very much, but I wrote them so that I could help people. The Mind-Body Code and the Mind-Body Self are both bestsellers on Amazon. You can get them anytime, audio, everything, Kindle. And I have extensive information here on tools about the things that you're asking here. Because this I can't do therapy here, and I don't do therapy. This is education. I can only go so far. You're pure gold. Thank you, Parker Rose, or Park Rose. I appreciate it. It's very nice of you to say that. It's very good. By the way, you notice that I always try to do away with no problem. When somebody says, oh, I like this, no problem. What the hell is this no problem thing? There's no problem. There's gratitude. So if somebody gives you a compliment, thank you. I appreciate it. That's very nice of you. My pleasure. No problem is not good. It teaches your brain that you have to avoid problems, because what you say, the brain will listen. I know it's just a habit, but when you're saying it, the brain doesn't know the difference. You do, but the brain doesn't know the difference. Am I avoiding a problem here, avoiding a problem there? No problem, out of your vocabulary. From now on, gratitude. So I said, thank you very much. I appreciate you saying that wonderful thing about me. And that's it. And it feels good. That's another thing. You give yourself an opportunity to feel gratitude, which is very, very good for your health. If you say no problem, there's no gratitude there. The brain cannot allow gratitude when you say no problem. So it's very important that you see that. I've been listening, but I have a short attention span. Well, you can learn attention span by going into yourself and paying attention to see how much you can stay with your breathing. And thoughts will come in, let them pass, go back to your breathing. Thoughts will come in, let them pass. And when you start tuning into your breathing, your attention span will increase. Then you can go out and practice attention span with other things. So that's the answer for that. I'm oversimplifying, but those are things that work. But you have to practice them. They just don't come automatically and magically. You have to practice. Like if you wanted to learn to ride a bike, you just don't do it on the first try. You just go back and forth till you actually get the balance and you know how to do it. This is the same thing. You have to cultivate, you have to learn. But what happens is that 2 months from now, you're a better person. You're more aware, you're healthier, you look younger, you're more likable, people want to be around you. So it's a growth process, and that's what I'm suggesting here. So if you just joined House Shrink here, initially started talking about disappointments and discovery as options when things are not going well. But it just went all over the place, as it usually does, because I try to answer as many questions as serious questions, not clowns, because the clowns are just here to take attention away from what's going on. Nice hair, by the way. Thank you. If you mean it, then thank you. Rather than no problem, thank you very much. I just got a haircut, by the way, so that's glad you noticed. Okay, so the compliments are very nice, and the questions are really very nice, and I think the clowns are going away. Very nice. Clowns are going away because when you avoid them and you just ignore them, they go away. All right, any more serious questions? Because I'm here to try to help as much as I can with any questions that you might have. The next chord, the next chord should be a fade. I don't know. I'll think about it. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Racing. Racing's becoming a regular here. He's a really nice guy. And he's you're listening to my audio, right? I think on the last time you talked, you said you were listening to my audio book. I hope it's going well for you. So, any other questions from anybody about anything? But I started with learning to move from disappointment to discovery. That's the idea. So if you just joined us, shifting from disappointments to discovery. But remember, this is not Pollyanna. It's not like, oh, so wonderful that this happened. No, you have to allow it to happen so you don't suppress it. After you allow it to happen and you experience it, then you go into discovery. Okay, what can I do with this now? If this isn't working, what can I do? And on some other videos, I'll talk about some other stories of things that I tried in discovery mode. They were just amazing how well they worked. But just for now, just be aware that you have a choice when you're disappointed, to go into spinning downward into disappointment or spinning upward into discovery and finding something new about yourself or about your world. So, thank you, Boricua. Just join us here. I'm not mentioning all the names because there's so many people showing up that pronounce Parker Rose. Okay, Parker Rose. Okay, thank you, Parker Rose. Appreciate it. And so, any other questions? Amelia Naranjo, welcome. Amelia Naranjo, if you want to pronounce it in Spanish. So anyway, from disappointment to discovery is the key here, is the topic that we're discussing right now. But if anything else comes up, that's a serious question, join me and I will try to answer them for you. If you just joined, this is House Shrink. Make sure that you follow my channel. That way the audience expands, I can reach more people, and you'll know then when I'm doing a video, and then you can join if it sounds interesting to you. But also the other thing I want to tell you is that these videos, as you know, are more than 60 seconds, so I can't post them on my channel. But what I'm doing is, for those of you who missed it, or those of you who want to actually watch the entirety of the video, it'll be available on my YouTube channel, which is Dr. Mario Martinez YouTube channel. It'll be there. It'll be on tomorrow, and just look for the title. And it's in this section specifically for TikTok, which how to find order in your life, or how to get your life in order, I think is what it is. But you can go there, and they're all there, so you won't miss a thing. Thank you for your time teaching. You're welcome, Parker Rose. I appreciate that. Thank you for being here. It's a pleasure to have people here who are really wanting to learn something about their lives. And I'm a clinical psychologist, so I can offer some ideas if you want them. So Iron Ghost just joined us, and I mentioned randomly because there's so many that come up that I would just be reading names instead of giving you some information. Okay, so one more time. The topic was going from disappointment to discovery, learning how to deal with life when you're disappointed, and then it just went all over the place, which is usually the way it goes, because people ask questions that are important to you. And if you have a question that's important, then to me that's important, and I deviate, answer the question, and then go back to my topic. All right? So everybody here, make sure that you follow my channel, House Shrink, because that will help in reaching larger audiences, and also let your friends know about it so they can follow and join. I put out a lot of information, as you can see, but there's also quite a bit on my YouTube channel. I have over 130 videos there that you can watch, and there's quite a bit of information. So, let's see, Deshaw just shared. That's another thing. Try to share this as much as you can so other people can have it, take advantage of it. This is very good information that I'm trying to convey here to you, and the more people that get it, the better. The better the reduction of suffering, the better. So what I'm trying to do here is creating what I call a subculture of wellness, like a tribe of wellness, where people come in and you can bring out the best in you, the excellence in you. I also recommend my books, both The Mind Body Code and The Mind Body Self. They're bestsellers. They're on Amazon. You can get them audio, and there's a lot of information. Some of you are already reading my books, as you've been telling me that you got them. So learn biocognition, which is my theory of mind and body, which has to do with how mind and body communicate in cultural context. Everything is cultural. everything from the immune system to the nervous system is cultural. And it's the collective beliefs that we have about the world. That's what it is. So those who just joined, House Shrink, talking about going from disappointment to discovery. And when something doesn't work, be disappointed for a few minutes, even a few seconds only, and then say, okay, what do I do? What's plan B now? What do I do now? Where do I go from here? What are the opportunities that are available to me? And when you do that, the brain goes into a discovery mode, which is very, very good for your health. It puts you into an empowerment mode rather than a helplessness mode, which is not good for your health. All right, so I think that's about it. There were some great questions, and I want to thank you all for participating here and for being part of this group. And make sure that you follow my work and let people know about it, that there's someone here called House Shrink who has some good things to say most of the time. All right, so enjoy, and remember, go from disappointment to discovery, and you will find some beautiful things in your life, and you will find tremendous synchronicity. Okay? All right, enjoy, and have a wonderful day.